morning out there.
Good morning.
I didn't hear you guys very well.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the alligator feeding here at the Naples Zoo. My name is Matt. This is Scott. We're going to be doing the alligator feeding for you. I'm going to be doing the really easy part. I'm just going to be talking about our animals here, talking about what our alligators are doing and how Scott's feeding them. He's going to be doing the really hard part. He is a professional that's trained to feed these alligators, and he's going to be risking serious injury to do that for you. We not only do that, though, for fun, although it is pretty fun, we also do it so we can get a really good look at the animals. Fighting is a normal part of their life, so we want to make sure that everything is okay with them. They haven't gotten any big fights overnight. Make sure we have all the right animals here. Make sure we haven't added any or just subtracted any. And make sure everybody is just in good overall condition. Right now, he's throwing in some alligator biscuits. You might want to ask what that is. It's sort of like dog food, but made for alligators. It's got all those nice vitamins, nutrients that they need to live. However, it's pretty boring. It's like eating cardboard twice a day. So what we do is we supplement their food with raw chicken and raw beef. They like that a whole lot. You can also drop off any small dogs that you want to. We can throw them in too. I'm just kidding. Don't do that, please. And this is a great big buffet for them. They have turtles in here that are native. They can actually get through those shells really easy with those really powerful jaws. They've got about 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of pressure. You always wonder, what does that mean? What is 2,000 pounds of pressure? It's similar to having a minibus fall on you. It's a lot. It's a lot of pressure, and they can get through those turtle shells really easily. It's a delicacy to them. However, they're a little bit lazy for that because they know they get fed. They also have wild birds in here. A lot of times those wild birds will have nests, and those eggs, those chicks will fall in, and they'll get snacked. And we also stock this lake with fish. About 60% of their diet is actually fish. And they go after those bigger things whenever they get the chance. So he's actually going down and he's individually asking the alligators to come up for food. He's not allowing them to come up and ask him because that would be quite a different scenario. The stick that he's using to encourage the alligators to go where he wants, it doesn't really mean anything. They can snap these sticks in a heartbeat without any effort whatsoever. They do have a couple of sensitive areas, and we've trained them so that if we target those sensitive areas, we can guide them back into the water very easily. One of those areas is the area right in the front of their nose. They've got some sensory organs there, and they can sense vibration in the water, pressure changes in the water when they have prey coming near them. They can sense things in the water close to them. You can't always see in the water. It's much kind of murky here in Florida. They also have an area right behind their tail where they don't have any body armor. It's very sensitive there too. So if he can't seem to get close to the nose, he'll get that area right behind the tail, right where it meets the legs. He's bringing one out of the water right now so that you can see exactly what's going on with it. You can see how beautiful it is, how big it is, but he's also looking for any wounds that might have occurred overnight. Since fighting is a normal part of their life, they do stake out territory in here. We have enough so that we don't have any overcrowding, which will be a bad thing. That causes a lot more injuries. And we have room for everybody to stake out their claims and get a good mate and have a normal alligator life. The alligator that he's feeding right now is actually our longest alligator. If you look closely, he has red eyes. His name is Big Red. He's 12.3 feet long. He is the most dominant animal in this exhibit and has been, we think, for at least 50 years. Since Caribbean Gardens opened way back when, he's been the dominant animal here since before the zoo was opened. So being that dominant animal, he has to defend his territory against all the other big males. And so he has lots of scar tissue around his mouth, and he has those red eyes. That was caused by fight. He damaged that scale that goes over his eyes and helps him see underneath the water. It's called a nictitating membrane. And so his eyes appear red. He's perfectly healthy. He gets along pretty good. And alligators don't need a whole lot of sight in order to live, especially here where they get fed twice a day. So he's targeting a female to come up right now. If you notice, the females are quite a bit shorter than the males. Their length is generally about 8 to 9 feet, whereas the males can get up to about 10 or 11 feet or even up to 12. We also have an animal here whose body armor is shaped in a little bit of a different way. That's another way that we tell them apart besides size and length, is differences in their body shape. This female is kind of big for a female, and if you notice, she has a lot of fat around her tail, a lot of fat around her stomach, and very big jowls. The males, if they get really good nutrition, will just keep getting longer, whereas the females will just continue to get heavier and not longer. And what they're doing in this summer is they're feasting. They're getting as much food as they possibly can because they know that in a few months it's going to be cold. If it's not 60 degrees, they really can't operate in the environment. And that is because they're exothermic. That means that they get all of their heat from the environment. They have no ability to produce that themselves. If they're hot, they'll go into the shade. If they're cool, they'll go into the sun. In the wintertime, they're completely exposed to what's ever going on in the environment. So what happens is they'll not eat very much, and they'll use that fat reserve in their tail and underneath their jowls to get all the nutrients that they need. Now, if you think about how much an alligator really needs to survive, it's not a lot, because they don't need as many calories as we do to produce body heat. That's a lot of wasted energy there. All they need is about the number of calories equivalent to a cup of yogurt every day. That's all they need. So if they store up some good fat in their tail, that can last them a couple of months worth of energy. We do feed them a lot more than what they need here. That helps us to keep them a little bit more predictable as far as feeding goes. And then also make sure that all the native animals that come in here aren't going to be victims of our alligators. So he's asking if he's a certain female to come up right now. And he's getting a good look at her body. See, he's discouraging the other one that's coming up on the beach and asking for food on her own. That's not allowed. Now, where Big Red is the biggest that we have here, he's not the heaviest. There's an alligator over here named Bubba. Bubba is actually the heaviest that we have. At the last time we weighed him, which really isn't that often, they don't get on a scale for us, he weighed about 800 pounds. So those males, they can get up to over 1,000 pounds. Do you hear that hissing that was happening over here? That's defensive. He's letting another alligator know that you're in my territory, you need to back off. You must be a more dominant male or a more dominant female. This area here in the center where they're being fed is sort of a neutral area, and it brings animals in that wouldn't normally hang around together into the same vicinity. So you'll see a little bit more aggression, you'll see a little bit more territoriality, and you'll see animals actually hanging out together that you wouldn't normally ever see. Sometimes you see Bubba and you see Big Red hanging out right next to each other, and that's because they have to come over here to eat, and they have to let down their guard. There's a female that was coming towards us right now. To Scott's left, that wanted to come up and get some food. Her name was Firecracker. And that's because she came to us without any legs. She came from an institution that overcrowded, which causes a lot more aggression, and she must have had her legs bitten off by another alligator. An interesting thing about alligators is that they have a natural antibiotic property in their blood. Scientists are using it now to help cure human diseases and possibly even the HIV disease. It's actually called procacillin. So those natural antibiotics help them to heal from things that would normally take us much, much more time and medical care to overcome. That being said, we do call in the veterinarian if we need it. We don't just let them suffer without any help.
Ouch. Look at that.
Okay, so we've got a lot more meat, which means I can do a lot more talking here if you're willing to listen to me. So we are sort of the end of the breeding season right now. The breeding season begins at different times in different places because of where the alligator range is. It goes from Virginia, the end of Virginia, North Carolina, all the way down and around down to Louisiana. And because of that, there's differences in temperature. And like I said, they are exothermic, so they're very temperature dependent on their whole life. Here in Florida, they start breeding April and May. It takes the females about 2 months to develop all those eggs that she's going to need. And what she'll do is she'll come up to the beach after about 2 months, and she'll lay between 50 and 100 eggs on the beach. She'll take vegetation that's going to help her incubate those eggs, and she'll pile it up way on top of those eggs. It's very, very visible to see an alligator mound because it can be 6 or 7 feet high and 10 feet across. They're really large. And that debris that's deteriorating is actually going to keep those eggs warm. Now, the really neat thing about alligator eggs is that they're also temperature dependent, just like an alligator is for the rest of their life. The really warm eggs that are on the bottom are going to be males. The cooler eggs that are on top are going to be females, and then you'll have a mixture in the middle. So after about 65 days of incubation in that pile of heat, of debris, the female's going to come up out of the water. She's going to uncover those eggs very delicately. Remember I told you that mouth was 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of pressure? She has enough dexterity in her mouth to take those eggs individually and help the babies come out, or if they've already come out and hatched out of their eggs, to bring them down to the water and help them get down into the water. It's amazing to see because they're so powerful, but yet they're able to be as gentle as they want to be with their babies. Now, we don't let them have nests here, and that's because the males would eat all of the babies, whether or not they were there. They don't care. They don't know whose babies they were. They just know they look like food. So what we do is if they have any nests here, we'll take them and relocate them and send them off to an alligator farm. And that alligator farm will hatch those eggs and raise them for us. We are lucky that we have about 1.3 million alligators here in Florida. That's a shadow of what we used to have a long time ago. Back in the 50s and 60s, they were hunted almost to extinction because of things like purses and handbags that were really fashionable at the time. They're really lucky that the United States government decided to put them on the endangered